So today we're going to do meatballs, and these meatballs can be used for any different meatball recipe you have. So spaghetti meatballs, meatballs with gravy, sweet and sour meatballs, various meals that can be cooked ahead, put in the fridge, and then heated up through the week to add to pasta, rice. In this case, we're having meatballs with gravy and mashed potatoes. Again, I'll be using just really simple, basic items in the recipe. Pretty easy, but really tasty. The first thing that I used was approximately half ground beef, half ground pork. You can use any variation of ground meat. You can use ground turkey, ground chicken. You can combine different types. And it could be regular ground beef, lean, doesn't need to be lean. And then I added salt and pepper, again, garlic powder. I use garlic powder mostly because I find my younger kids are just a little sensitive to the raw garlic. So in my case, I used garlic powder, breadcrumbs. Again, I don't do a lot of measuring. I do it by just sort of, I know how much is required. So breadcrumbs and egg, which in this case I use 2 eggs, probably about a pound of ground beef and slightly less of the pork. And so 2 eggs and breadcrumbs, we're looking at approximately a half, 3/4 of a cup breadcrumbs. You can make your breadcrumbs at home. Maybe I'll do a video of that one day. In the small food processor, I chop the onions to save me all that chopping. That's 1 large onion. And then once it's mixed, I use a rubber glove to mix just so the stuff doesn't, all the mush doesn't get under your fingernails and you're not standing over the sink scrubbing your nails. So use a glove to mix it with your hands. You could use a big spoon, you could use whatever you want, but I use a glove. And then I'm going to roll them up, put them on this pan, which I'll probably try to upload a photo later. And I actually fill the pan, put them in the oven and let them cook that way. Saves a lot of turning over the stove. And once that's done, we're going to be making the gravy. So we'll be adding the drippings if there are any. If there aren't, actually I'll do a video on gravy after this, to this pot on the stove. Adding flour and a little bit of kitchen bouquet. In this case, it's a gravy darkener. So if your gravy tends to be not dark enough and it's like kind of white and pasty, the darker color gives it a more of an authentic gravy look, if you will. Doesn't really add to the taste. And so we'll be doing that gravy on the stove later, and then adding in some meatballs, and then maybe refrigerating the rest of the meatballs to use in a different recipe. So I'll be uploading a photo when they're ready for oven.